On June 18, 1971, a rebellious airline began flights from Dallas Love Field with 3 Boeing 737s and a radical promise: flying should be as cheap as driving. The business plan had been sketched on a cocktail napkin in a San Antonio restaurant, a simple triangle connecting Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio. No assigned seats, no first class, no frills, just low fares and friendly service. For 47 consecutive years, Southwest Airlines never lost money. Not during recessions, not after September 11th, not during oil crises that bankrupted competitors. Then came the pandemic. Still, the model seemed bulletproof. But on January 27, 2026, Southwest Airlines officially abandoned the open seating policy that had defined it since birth. Passengers would no longer sprint down jetways hunting for window seats. The boarding groups, numbered 1 through 60, disappeared forever. But here's what makes no sense. Southwest surveyed its own customers. 80% said they preferred assigned seats. 86% of potential customers flying other airlines said the same thing. The airline wasn't abandoning a beloved feature, it was eliminating the number one reason travelers chose competitors. So, how can giving customers exactly what they want feel like a corporate death? To understand why Southwest is betting its identity on this transformation, we need to understand why the old model worked for so long. The original Southwest system was built on one revolutionary insight: complexity costs money. Every aircraft type in a fleet requires separate maintenance crews, separate spare parts inventories, separate pilot certificates. Southwest flew only Boeing 737s, one aircraft type, one set of parts, one training program. This simplicity cascaded through every operation. Open seating meant faster boarding. Passengers filled seats organically instead of queuing in aisles waiting for row 34 to clear. Southwest famously achieved 10-minute gate turns in its early years, when competitors needed 45 minutes. Those 35 extra minutes meant Southwest aircraft could fly an additional short flight per day. More flights means more revenue from the same assets. Point-to-point routing eliminated connecting passengers entirely. No checked bags sitting in Dallas waiting for someone flying through to Phoenix. No missed connections cascading into operational chaos. The model delivered something unprecedented in American aviation: consistent profitability without premium pricing. Southwest generated $28 billion in annual revenue by 2025. The airline employed over 72,000 people. It operated more than 800 aircraft. But somewhere along the way, the strengths became vulnerabilities. In December 2022, everything collapsed. Winter Storm Elliott swept across the United States during the holiday travel season. Every airline faced disruptions. Delta cancelled flights. American grounded planes. United scrambled to recover. Within 48 hours, most carriers restored normal operations. Southwest didn't recover for days. The airline cancelled over 16,900 flights between December 21st and December 30th. 2 million passengers were stranded during Christmas week. Families slept on airport floors. Luggage disappeared into black holes. Customer service lines went unanswered for 8 hours or more. The cause for the scale of disaster wasn't the weather, it was software. Southwest's crew scheduling system, a legacy platform called SkySolver, lost track of where pilots and flight attendants were located across the country. The point-to-point model that eliminated connecting passengers also scattered crews unpredictably. Hub-and-spoke airlines could reset operations by repositioning everyone at central hubs. Southwest had no hubs, only bases. Crews were everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. Pilots waited on hold for entire shifts just to receive assignments. Flight attendants drove hundreds of miles trying to reach aircraft that might or might not depart. The system had grown too large for the technology supporting it. The financial damage exceeded $1.1 billion in lost revenue. and customer compensation, the Department of Transportation levied a $140 million civil penalty, 30 times larger than any previous DOT fine in history. But the reputational damage proved worse than the financial loss. Southwest had been the reliable airline, the friendly airline, the airline that treated customers like family instead of cargo. That perception shattered during the winter of 2022. For decades, Southwest's stock performed modestly but consistently. The airline prioritized employee satisfaction and customer loyalty over quarterly earnings growth. Wall Street tolerated this approach during profitable years. Then came the meltdown, and the tolerance evaporated. In June 2024, Elliott Investment Management disclosed a $1.9 billion stake in Southwest Airlines, approximately 11% of the entire company. This wasn't a passive investment. Elliott is an activist hedge fund known for forcing dramatic changes at underperforming companies. Their letter to Southwest's board was devastating. They accused leadership of a stubborn unwillingness to evolve. They documented how Southwest's stock had dropped more than 50% over the previous 3 years, while competitors like Delta and United soared. Elliott predicted Southwest stock could hit $49 per share, a 77% return, but only if leadership made changes quickly. By October 2024, Southwest partially capitulated. Executive Chairman Gary Kelly, who had served as CEO for 18 years before becoming chairman, announced accelerated retirement. 6 new directors joined the board, including 5 Elliott nominees from Virgin America, WestJet, and Marriott. Current CEO Bob Jordan kept his job by promising to deliver exactly what Elliott demanded: rapid change. The transformation wasn't optional, it was survival. What Southwest announced in July 2024 represents one of the most comprehensive business model transformations in modern airline history. The changes extend far beyond seating assignments. A standard Southwest cabin previously featured 32 inches of seat pitch everywhere, economy class, one class, democratic and identical. The new configuration creates 3 distinct tiers. Extra legroom seats offer approximately 3 additional inches of pitch, positioned near exit rows and the front of the aircraft. These seats come with enhanced snacks and complimentary premium beverages. Preferred seats maintain standard legroom, but passengers sit toward the front of the cabin, offering faster deplaning. Standard seats occupy the rear, assigned at check-in for passengers purchasing basic fares. The boarding process is transformed completely. The iconic ABC groups, with positions 1 through 60, disappear. 8 numbered boarding groups replace them, priority determined by fare tier and loyalty status. Early bird check-in, the product that allowed anxious passengers to pay for better boarding positions, gets eliminated entirely. The fare structure undergoes similar segmentation. Basic fares receive a standard seat assigned at check-in. Choice fares allow selecting a standard seat at booking. Choice Preferred includes preferred seat access and additional perks. Choice Extra provides extra legroom seat selection at booking with the highest loyalty earning rates. But perhaps the most shocking change involves bags. For 54 years, Southwest was the only major US carrier offering 2 free checked bags to every passenger on every flight. The policy cost hundreds of millions in foregone revenue annually. Competitors charged $35, $45, sometimes $60 per bag. Southwest absorbed the cost as a brand differentiator. Starting May 28, 2025, Southwest began charging $35 for the first bag and $45 for the second bag on basic, choice, and choice preferred fares. Only Business Select passengers and Elite Loyalty members retain free bags. The airline projected bag fees alone would generate approximately $800 million in additional annual revenue. Combined with assigned seating and premium cabin revenue, Southwest expected $1.5 billion from assigned seating and extra legroom seats. Another $2 billion comes from cost-cutting and revenue management optimization. Total projected incremental EBIT? Approximately $4.3 billion by 2027, according to Jordan's estimates from May 2025. The mathematics are compelling, but they require abandoning everything that made Southwest different. Here's where the story takes a big, unexpected turn. The significance of Southwest's transformation isn't about seating or bag fees, it's about what happens when an airline, optimized for efficiency, adds complexity. You need to consider the mathematics of Southwest's original model. Open seating allowed passengers to board in approximately 20 minutes. They filled seats naturally, moving toward empty spaces without blocking aisles. Assigned seating typically extends boarding time by a few minutes. Passengers queue, waiting for row access. They struggle with overhead bins near their assigned seats, rather than using any available space. Southwest built its entire network around 25-minute gate turns. The 10-minute turns of the early days extended as aircraft grew larger, but remained industry-leading. Adding 5 to 10 minutes per boarding theoretically reduces daily aircraft utilization. Fewer flights per plane means less revenue from the same seats. But Southwest is betting the revenue per flight increases enough to offset utilization losses. Extra legroom seats generate premium pricing, preferred seat selection generates fees, bag charge generates hundreds of millions. The question becomes whether customers paying premium prices demand premium execution. This seems like a reasonable trade-off. Airlines typically optimize for revenue per available seat mile, but Southwest's logic is strategic rather than purely operational. You see, Southwest isn't attempting to become Delta or United, it's attempting to capture customers who previously chose Delta or United specifically because those airlines offered assigned seats. The 80% of Southwest customers preferring assigned seats weren't imaginary, neither were the 86% of non-customers avoiding Southwest for that exact reason. For travelers willing to pay more for certainty about where they'll sit, Southwest now offers something it never could before. The scarcity of premium options creates value through tiered pricing. The passenger paying for extra legroom isn't just paying for 5 inches, they're paying for priority boarding, premium beverages, and the assurance they won't be stuck in a middle seat at the back. Most legacy carriers cannot easily exploit Southwest's transformation. Delta already offers premium economy, United already charges for seats, American already segments cabins extensively. Southwest entering the premium market doesn't threaten their core strategies. If anything, it validates them. But the transformation creates vulnerabilities Southwest never faced before. The original model was nearly impossible to replicate profitably. Competitors tried. Spirit and Frontier pursued ultra-low-cost models, but in recent times have faced constant financial distress. Southwest's combination of low fares, free bags, and friendly service created competitive models around customer loyalty. Those moats are dissolving. A passenger comparing Southwest to Delta in 2027 will see assigned seats on both, bag fees on both, premium cabins on both, tiered loyalty benefits on both. The differentiation becomes price, schedule convenience, and loyalty status rather than fundamental product differences. Southwest's remaining advantages include its all-Boeing 737 fleet and point-to-point network efficiency. But the cultural advantages, the employee satisfaction that drove customer satisfaction, face unprecedented pressure. For the first time in its history, the airline laid off approximately 1,750 corporate employees in February 2025, targeting $210 million in savings for fiscal year 2025 and $300 million by 2026. Employee-first philosophy becomes difficult to maintain while cutting 15% of corporate staff. One change demonstrates how thoroughly Southwest is abandoning its operational philosophy. For 54 years, Southwest refused to operate overnight flights. The scheduling complexity interfered with maintenance windows. Crew rest requirements complicated roster planning. The legacy software couldn't optimize across 24-hour operations. On February 13, 2025, Southwest launched redeye flights. The economic rationale is compelling. Redeye flights generate revenue from aircraft sitting idle overnight. Southwest calculates that the additional utilization equals 18 additional aircraft worth of capacity without purchasing new planes. But red-eyes require entirely different operational assumptions. Maintenance happens differently, crew scheduling happens differently, customer expectations differ for overnight travel. The airline that couldn't track crew locations during a winter storm now operates aircraft continuously through the night. Either the technology improved dramatically, or the risk tolerance changed dramatically. Perhaps nothing signals Southwest's transformation more than international partnerships. For most of its 5 decades, Southwest operated largely as a closed system. Apart from a brief codeshare with ATA Airlines in the 2000s, no interline agreements, no connecting passengers from other carriers. This isolation simplified operations but limited revenue opportunities. Business travelers flying internationally chose carriers offering connections. Southwest couldn't participate in that market. In February 2025, Southwest started its first airline partnership with Icelandair. Passengers can now connect through Baltimore-Washington International to Icelandair's European network. Additional partnerships with China Airlines and Eva Air expand its reach further. Southwest is selling tickets to destinations it will never fly, generating revenue from passengers it will never transport on its own aircraft. The old Southwest would have considered this operational complexity unnecessary. The new Southwest sees it as essential revenue capture. Herb Kelleher articulated a philosophy that guided Southwest for decades. Your employees come first, and if you treat your employees right, they treat your customers right, and that makes your shareholders happy. The order mattered. Employees first, customers second, shareholders third. Elliott Investment Management articulated a different philosophy. Shareholder returns first, everything else follows. The settlement with Elliott inverted Kelleher's hierarchy. Corporate layoffs proceeded despite record travel demand. Customer accommodations tightened despite policy reversals. Employee satisfaction surveys showed declining morale. Yet, the stock price rose. Wall Street declared victory. In 1971, Southwest launched because flying had become expensive, complicated, and miserable on legacy carriers. The airline proved simplicity could work. Low fares could attract passengers. Treating customers like humans could build loyalty. For 47 consecutive profitable years, Southwest demonstrated an alternative to the hub-and-spoke, fee-laden, class-segmented model dominating American aviation. In 2026, Southwest abandoned that alternative. When those first passengers board flights with assigned seats and pay for checked bags, they'll complete a transformation that took 4 years of crisis to force, and proof that sometimes the most significant changes in aviation don't require new aircraft or new routes. Sometimes they require surrendering the philosophy that made you different. The question isn't whether Southwest can generate the returns Elliott demands, it's whether an airline built on being unlike everyone else can survive by becoming exactly like everyone else. The rest of the industry isn't watching to see if Southwest fails, they're watching to see if the last alternative to their model finally disappeared. Hey, before you go, the YouTube algorithm thinks you're going to like this video next, so why not check it out?